Okay, so today I'm going to go over like the syllabus and the class structure. So I think I'm just going to start by sharing my screen. And let's go to Blackboard. So I don't know how you got here, if you went through the email link or if you went through Blackboard, but this is what your Blackboard should probably kind of look like if you go to your courses or go to My ACC. You should have a list of your courses somewhere. I just like ate and then I drank a bunch of coffee. So, whew, digesting still. Okay. I can't get too excited about math today. So this is not what yours look like. This is what mine looks like, but if I enter student preview mode, this should be what yours looks like. It looks very similar, except you can't move things around. I guess they reserved that right for me. So if you got here through your email, if you want to get here through Blackboard, you can also get here through Blackboard. But usually we're meeting in Zoom. Once you put it in Zoom, you can usually just go back to join the meeting. And usually all your classes are kind of just stored in your Zoom. At least that's how it went for me. So this is the Blackboard site. The class syllabus is right here. So I have the syllabus and I also have the homework problems attached here right next to the syllabus. So we're going to go over the homework, but for the most part, this is all the homework that we're going to do this semester. This is the syllabus. And if at any time you have any questions, just like stop me, ask me a question, and I will try to respond. Can y'all see this? Can y'all see the syllabus? Where's my little thing here?
Yeah, I can see it.
I'm gonna bring up my chat so I can see what y'all are saying. Why do y'all just like, y'all are so quiet, man? I think it's like, I don't know if it's a younger generation thing or what. Like y'all prefer the chat like so much more. It's all right, but kind of weird. I think y'all are just shyness thing. Okay, but anyway, y'all can talk if you want. Like, I don't know if you know how, like, just to hit, if you hit your space bar, it does like a temporary unmute. It's kind of like a walkie-talkie. Over, right? You can do that sound too. Totally encourage it. Okay, so this is Math 1332, Contemporary Math. We are in spring 2021. I love this because this is the dumbest thing. It's like, if this is all the stuff you already know if you're already here, pretty much, right? This is my favorite part, going over stuff you already know. So this is 1332. We're in section 009. So if at any point I give you something and maybe it says section 001, that's my other class. Maybe yell at me. If it matters, then I'll change it. If not, then y'all can just deal with it, I guess. So synonym, whichever one you want to say. This is 223194. You're probably never going to need that. The only like time that people ever needed that is if they went into the testing center, but we're all going like distance. So you're probably all at home right now. I'm hoping they didn't pile you into a class. They didn't do that, did they? Most of y'all are from Navarro High School, I believe. Is it Navarro or Navarro? I always hear people kind of pronounce it both ways.
It's Navarro.
Navarro. Okay.
We were once known as Lanier, but now we're in Navarro, so.
Oh, okay. Are y'all distance or are they piling you into a class?
Well, you can choose.
Okay.
You can be distance or you could be on campus. Though I think most are distance.
Yeah, I think y'all are making the right decision if
I just choose to stay.
we need to get over this stuff. It's like the more serious we take it, the better it is, I think. So without getting into that any further, let's get back into the syllabus. So we're here from 3 to 420. Classroom, there's my Zoom ID and your passcode. I am Matthew Sievers. If you call me Professor Sievers, hey sir, hey dude, like as long as it's fairly respectable and you're not just like being a jerk. Like I'm not a formal person, right? You can just call me whatever pretty much to get my attention, as long as it's respectful, you know. That's my ACC voicemail there. There's that number. This is what I'm going to say. Don't ever call that. Like, you shoot me an email. Like, if you want to communicate with me, email is like my preferred way. That's the number one way. That's the best way you're going to get a hold of me. Either shoot me an email, or you can come by office hours. You can stick around after class or come back by for office hours. So I have my office hours right after class, like 10 minutes after class, I think is when I set them, 4:30 to 5:30. So I'm going to stick around for an hour. If you want to, you can come back into the classroom. We can talk about whatever. If those don't work for you, you can always try to schedule something else. So this class, there's everything. I copied and pasted from like the master syllabus. So a lot of you, I know you're like high school students coming into college for the first time. So what I would say about this, I know like a lot of this stuff seems, how do you say, it's really boring and like boilerplate, right? It's syllabus day is not the most interesting, and I know it's like, I always felt like the first day was always like, usually like, it was always really stressful to me personally. It's like, this is just a bunch of information he just bombarded me with, and I got to try to remember all of it. If I don't remember one of them, I'm probably gonna get in trouble or something. All right. So it's boring and a lot of stuff is thrown at you. So I understand that. With that said, and bit of like advice about like your college and stuff. When you go over a syllabus, this is like, it's boring, but it's boring because it's like a contract. It's like a legal contract, so to speak, right? This is like your contract with the class. I've seen it work kind of both ways. If it's in the syllabus, you have to hold to it pretty much. Unless you agree to change it, unless there's a unanimous sort of agreement to like sort of change things. If it's in the syllabus, it's you got to hold to it. And I've seen it work both ways. I've seen it like professors have to get held to it if they're doing something they're not really supposed to. I've seen students get held to it if they like are trying to do something they're not supposed to and don't understand how things work. So it kind of works both ways. It's like a contract. You have to hold to it, sort of, right? With that said, let's get into it, and let's do it kind of real quick, and I'll skim over the more boring stuff and try to get into the sort of heart of the thing. So the credit hours, this is a 3-credit class. It's designed for non-STEM majors, basically is what this is saying. Topics include, but not limited to, sets theories, number theory, geometric concepts. And we're going to do a little bit of probability and statistics. So this is not algebra. It is like contemporary math. It is not, it's for non-STEM majors. So we don't do like the more conventional sort of stuff. We do a lot more sort of applications, and we do like stuff that's kind of all over the place in this class, right? We're going to start off, chapter 1 is going to be logic. And so it might seem like it has nothing to do with math at first even. But there's a reason why we're going into logic first, I think. It makes some sense with the course structure, I think. Who's saying something? It's hard to pull up chats whenever I'm looking at this thing, doing screen share. With that said, like a lot of people, like, since it's not algebra, they want to know how they're going to do like compared to algebra. And if I'm being honest, I really don't know. Like, this class really depends upon person to person. With that said, I think most people in the past, you're coming from high schools and you're getting into college and you're figuring out, hey, I can actually fail these college classes if I don't take them seriously. Like, college is a bit more serious than high school, right? And you don't want to fail your classes, or it's not very much fun. It does happen sometimes, but it's not very much fun. You don't want to do it. And with that said, like, a lot of people don't do a lot of, or for a lot of people, math is a challenge, right? And they don't do well in it. So I think most of the people that don't do well in this class, they don't do well. For a large part, they don't do well because they're not doing the work. If you do the work, if you follow along, if you make like an honest attempt, like I'm pretty sure I know all of you can pass this class. So let's do it. Course rationale. The course is intended to provide non-math non-science majors with a survey of topics in math and emphasis maybe towards developing students. So you're here to develop quantitative reasoning skills, illustrating the beauty of mathematics as a discipline and or imparting a feel for the different ways that math is used. So I know you're not going into math, but I'm going to probably give you a little bit of insight into like how math is used. You're here to become quantitatively literate, right? It's like there's this way that we measure the world, and it's quantitatively. You're here to gain a better understanding of the world around you, right? And part of it, me being an instructor, like I hope you gain a better understanding of the world around you, because if you don't, someone's probably going to try to manipulate that, and I don't want you to be manipulated, right? So with that said, here's your prereq. So coming into this class, you should all have TSI completion. Whenever I checked it, it said y'all had your TSI. I think most of you took the TSI 2 test. A few of you have prereqs classes that you took to get here. You should have made a C in a developmental class if you went that route. Or you should have done some sort of TSI test. If that's not the case and you're hearing this, for some reason you're in this class, definitely get with your advisor and tell them what the heck is happening. Because you are not supposed to be here if you did not do one of those two things. Okay. So what does this say? Increase, improve quantitative literacy. I think I already said that earlier. Provide with an opportunity to experience math as an intellectual exercise and a way of thinking. Okay, so that goes with the logic. Math is basically just an application of logic to set theory, which is the next thing that it says down here. Applying the language and notation of sets is one of the learning outcomes. So determine the validity of an argument or statement and provide mathematical evidence. Solve problems in math and finance. So that's all of chapter 4, deals with the math and finance. If I'm being honest, that's not my most favorite section. To me, finances are just they're kind of by a book, kind of by a formula. Like there's not a lot of critical thinking in there, but we'll get through that section. It'll be fairly quick. And not too bad. I'll have the class a little more interactive this semester, I think. So demonstrate fundamental probability counting techniques and apply those techniques to solve problems, interpret and analyze various representations of data. Something about what modeling, solve problems, real world settings, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Understanding math is an evolving discipline and are related to human culture. So maybe this is something to talk about, like what we study and what we put emphasis on in math is definitely dependent upon like what culture you're coming from. A lot of things we put emphasis on because they apply to things that are within our society, right? And within our culture. What else? Critical thinking, quantitative and empirical reasoning, written, oral, and visual communication skills. Those are what we're developing. Required text. So to get to your required text, if you go back to this page, your required text should be under course materials. Access your course materials if you want to get to your book. This is your book. You're just going to need to read it, I think is about the only thing. You don't need all the other stuff unless you want to launch some courseware and do some more interactive stuff. If you're not getting enough practice as is, then maybe you might want to do that. But here we go. If I want to go to chapter 1, it's in part 1 logic, part 1, and I go to 1A, I can go to unit 1A. Okay, so if I want to go, this is the first section, living in the media age. And so that's what your book is. If you're in this class, you already did pay your student fees, which pays your first day access. So you should already have access to the book. There are ways to opt out if you want to get like a physical copy of the book. I think you might be able to opt out and get some of your money back. And I think there's either instructions there or I'm not sure. I think they're in Blackboard somewhere, how to opt out. How do I go back? Here. Yeah, I think it's one of these links will tell you how to opt out. You can get a hold of them or try to hit me up and if you can't figure it out. But it's not recommended you opt out. So I don't really want to even spend much time talking about that. So technology for this class, you're going to need a webcam and you're going to need a microphone to take the test. So those are things that you will need. You will need to have them so that they are active and working. The other thing you're going to need is a scientific or business calculator. It should have these keys on it, exponential keys. It should have the natural exponential key and the logarithmic key. So they give you some of these. With that said, for the most part, if you're doing homework, I don't care if you're using like a phone or whatever, but for the test, you're not allowed to use a cell phone.
For the tests, are we using a Respondus?
Yeah, Respondus. Yeah, I was getting to that in a second. Respondus lockdown browser, and I do have
I
a
can
practice.
do that on my iPad. Is that okay?
I believe you should be able to do it on an iPad, and if not, let me know. It should. It's an extra little option you have to click off on there. But if you go, there is a practice exam. There's a little mock test, and I want you all to do this before the first test. Like I'm gonna hound down on y'all later when it gets closer to the first test if you hadn't done it already. But there's something that where you can practice all this crazy testing system. It is under test. Okay. Yeah. What's up?
I I was just saying okay because I've had problems in the past where the professor didn't like check off, hey, you can use an iPad for this test.
Yeah. yeah. And if anything happens during a test, I'm always in the classroom during the test. And you can always come by the classroom, or the other thing is you can always shoot me an email. I'll always be like active in my email during the test and active in the class. So like I don't ever want like the sort of like technology thing to get in the way, you know. If that should never be like a sort of issue.
Okay.
Okay.
Those test numbers. So are the tests going to have like all of the numbers and we only have to do the numbers that are on that piece of paper?
This is your homework. So
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry about
yeah,
that.
this is from the book. And I was going to get to that just a little bit about how the class is organized in a second, because it's a little bit different. This is what you would refer to as like a flipped class. And so what technology, where was I at? Instructional methodology. This is distance education. It's taught with like a sort of lecture structure, I think is what this is saying. Most of the stuff, the grading will be through gradebook. So here's my grading scheme. Now I was going to talk about the class structure. So the course lectures. So this is a flipped class. So what you're expected to do is you're expected to watch the lecture before you come to class. So if I go here, there are lecture notes. There are lecture notes for every section. So these are all the sections that we're going over. So before the next class, and maybe I should go to my little calendar. We didn't come in Monday because it was MLK Day. Today is the 20th. It's the course intro day. So before next Monday is the 25th. And I hope I got all these dates right. If I didn't, we're always meeting on Mondays and Wednesdays. Okay, we're not shaking things up that crazily. So before next Monday, I want you to go and watch the lecture video for 1A. I want you to follow along with the notes. If you can fill out the notes before you watch the lecture video, you can go ahead and do that. Like I encourage you to work ahead on stuff. The video is here under lessons. So if you go to lessons, it's gonna take you to my YouTube page. If you want to click like, subscribe, do all the good stuff. Repost. What else? How can I become more popular online? So chapter 1A is right here. And I don't want to listen to my annoying voice, but I guess you will have to. I already listened to it once and made sure it was good. So before next class, I want you to follow along with the notes, go through 1A. With that said, I know it's like you're coming from high school. You're probably not used to like the flip sort of structure. If I'm being honest, like I'm not sure a lot of my math classes did that until they got to the higher math. But that's the sort of structure a lot of other sort of college classes take. They expect you to read sort of things and sort of try to figure things out a little bit on your own before you come to class. With that said, I know you're not going to get like 100% of like probably like the material that's being put out at you, right? I don't expect that so much. I expect you to get I expect you to hopefully you're getting a good amount of it, but like, you know, I'm not expecting miracles, but like try to get something out of it, right? Try to understand a little bit about what's happening. Come to class, get a bit of a better understanding. Complete the homework. Hopefully you get a better understanding, and hopefully by the time you take the quiz, you'll be ready for the test. That's sort of the idea of the class. So there are, what do I want to say? 4 different sort of categories of things that are going to get graded: homework, quizzes, tests, and then we're going to have like this sort of research project essay. So I already talked about the lectures. Those are the things with the notes and the videos that you need to do. So before the next class, do 1A. In class, we're going to go over the homework. So we're going to work through most, if not all, of the homework problem. So the idea is sort of like I'm getting some homework time from you here just by you watching the lecture. So I'm hopefully giving you some of your time back here in class by doing the homework. With that said, I think I'm going to do quizzes. I don't know if y'all are familiar with quizzes, but I think that's the way I'm going to go. This is a website called Quizzes that makes it a little more interactive. And we can hopefully do the homework cooperatively, sort of. So with that said, with the way the class is sort of set up, you really need to go watch these lectures beforehand. You really need to get like at least a little bit of an understanding with what we're going to do. Like I'm hoping you're coming into class and I'm hoping you have like a pretty good understanding of how to do the homework. Hopefully you could work through the homework by yourself. If not, like at least work through a good portion of it, right? Without having support, you know? It's not expected that you work through the homework before class. But like if you look at it, you should be able to sort of do it, if that makes sense. Like you should have some understanding, hopefully. With that said, it's going to be really obvious. The class kind of revolves around you going to watch these lecture videos and having some understanding. If not, the class is going to kind of like come to a stall. Oh, submitting homework. Yeah, I'll get on that in a second. So I expect the written homework. I'm going to do it like, what I want to say, interactively with like quizzes, but I'm expecting it to be written out. I don't expect you to maybe like write every word of the problem out, but at least like number your problems, have them in a sort of order, write things sort of neatly. I don't know how to like else to say this, but like one of the things that really helped me as a student was becoming a professor, because you understand like what the professor really kind of wants a little bit better. But like a little bit of neatness really goes a long way with this, right? If it looks like something like I'm trying to like figure out what problem's going where, like that doesn't like promote me to want to grade it, you know? And then it promotes me to like probably put like not as good of a grade as probably one on it, you know? So you got to kind of prime people, right? A little bit. So the expected problems are on this list. These are pretty much all the problems we're going to go through. I might cut one or two. There's like a handful of them in here that I don't really care about, and I'll probably tell you to take it off. Or I might want to add one. Who knows? I might get crazy. But for the most part, that is what the homework that we're going to do. I'm going to try to do them interactively in class, but I expect you to at least like write out the problem. I expect you to show work, right? I don't really care that you can put a solution. There are solutions in the back of the book. I will give you solutions. I don't care about the solution. I care about the process. That's the math there, right? The mathematics is the process that you're getting there. It's the application of your logic that you're putting forth that's getting you there. There's a sort of analogy I use kind of over and over again. I probably beat it dead, but whatever. It's like the broke clock sort of a thing. There's an analogy that like, you know, a broke clock is right twice a day. I don't care if you have the correct solution. I care that you're functioning and working, right? That's what I want. I want you thinking about things, not just looking like an answer sheet. Like literally the back of the book is an answer sheet. If you go look, there's a solution to odd problems. I don't care if you can copy the back of the book, all right? I want to see some work. So show all your work if you want to receive credit. If you don't show work, you might get 50% on that or something. You do not have homework due next time. It will be due like, we will have, here, I'll get to it in just a second. So yeah, I was talking about homework. So if I go back to this, the homework due dates are on here. If we look at the written assignments, I believe it should tell you the homework due dates somewhere. So we are going to go over chapter 1A homework in class on Monday. It will be due, I believe, the following Tuesday at like midnight. So I'm basically giving you another day to kind of get it finished up and turned in. It doesn't want to go there. If it's not the next Tuesday at midnight, then tell me. Y'all are meeting on Mondays and Wednesdays? Yeah, so there it is. It should be due Tuesdays and Thursdays. It shouldn't, when y'all should be due, like in the next day. And I'm hoping that should give y'all enough time. I think that's plenty of time since we're going over it in class. You should be. Basically, if you're active in class and taking active notes and writing stuff down, I think you should be getting most, if not all of your sort of homework done in class, you know, and getting a grade for it. So not sure you have a lot of room to complain on that. But be here, be active. Submitting written homework. So there are instructions here for submitting written homework. So I do really recommend what they're going to tell you here, which is to get the Genius Scan app. So what the Genius Scan app is you put it on your phone and you take pictures of stuff with your phone camera, and it will convert it all to a nice single PDF file that you can submit to me. And you can take that PDF file and you can come here, and before next Tuesday, you can go in and attach it from that phone that you brought it up or took pictures from. Or if you can't attach it from your phone, you can email it to yourself, try to put it on your computer maybe, and load it up that way. I know some people had to do that. Yeah, 342, okay. And so what was I talking about? Did I answer everything? Homework due, yes. And you submit homework and that little portal there. So going back, oh no, I don't want to exit this preview. Make sure I went over everything here for the most part. I think I did. This is the class syllabus. The lecture notes are here. This is like the homework for one of our sections. It's coming up, section 1D. This is just where I put the homework. These are the lessons. I clicked on that earlier. These are the video lessons. So for each class, I'm going to record each class and put each class up. So if you miss a class and need to see what happened, or if you just need to rewatch something and look at it again and see how it's done, you'll be able to do that. I know it's kind of a crazy, hectic sort of semester, or they have been so far. I don't predict this semester is going to be drastically different. So I'm setting it up to be a little bit forgiving. So don't take the slack and hang yourself with it, so to speak. All right. This is submitting assignments. If you want to submit assignments, here are the written assignments where you submit the written assignments. These are the written assignments. These are the problems I expect worked out of the book. And like I said, like if you're writing this by hand, I don't expect you to write every single word of the problem out, right? I expect the work from the problem. I expect maybe if it's a word problem, like the pertinent information, the variables that you're picking out of the word problem may be defined a little bit. But I'm not expecting you to regurgitate the problem back at me, you know. I have the problem in the book. I know what it says, so to speak. So that's where you're submitting homework, where you're submitting quizzes. So if you go back and look at the schedule, we're going through chapter 1 and then through chapter 10, which is a little bit of geometry. And then we're going to take a test. Your quiz is due before your test. So I think I said it due like 30 minutes before the test or something. So it is due a little bit before the test. I want you to turn it in before your test. If you're still working on it 30 minutes before your test, you're not doing what you should have been doing. You're waiting till the last minute. Okay, so this is your book. I don't need that open anymore. I don't need the lessons. I got too much stuff open here. I don't need this. This is the things I need. This is where you're submitting your quizzes. Your tests are in here. This is where you can take a practice exam to try to get the Respondus lockdown browser sort of thing down. So there is a lockdown browser, and then there's a Respondus monitoring system. Your Chromebooks do not work with Respondus. Okay, if that's the situation, you can always come into class during the test, and then we can work something out. I will be active in class during the test. I will be active in emails during the test. So we can try to work around that best as possible. So the thing with Respondus or the lockdown browser is that it is its own browser. It is like Google Chrome or E, if that still exists anymore, who knows. It's its own thing. You have to download it, and then there's a monitoring system that you have to get through. It's a bit of a process, but it is the system that we are using for taking the test. So where was I at? Here, this is the percent breakdown of your grade. I guess you probably already saw that without me saying it. Quizzes. I think you probably already saw it, but all your quizzes are up already. I might have to make some minor adjustments on a few things, some typos maybe, but like they're pretty much up there. You can pretty much look what is expected. This is sort of like your first introduction to problems that I'm writing here, if I'm being honest, right? All our homework is coming straight from the book. These are the first things that you see that are really kind of like, what are the problems that I'm going to write? They're kind of getting you prepared for the test, which are also things that I'm going to be writing. So quizzes, test, it talks about, this is all about the lockdown browser. So this is how you install it. This is how you do all those sorts of things. Getting help. So here's some, well, let's respond to this. Okay. The research project. So the research project was right. Where did I put it? Submitting assignments, research project. So here's the project. Here's where you're going to submit it. So the research project, I'm not trying to be super hard on, but basically it's going to be go research something math related. I want you to find something that like appeals to you on this basically. And I give you a few topics to pick from on there. You go read that page. But it has to be 3 pages, and I don't know if like things changed since I was in high school or what happened. But like I think the biggest thing that people mess up on in the research project is they try to short it. Like I don't think 3 pages is a whole lot for a college paper, but I'm basically just trying to go get you to read something outside of class, do a little bit of recreational math. I'm trying to trick you into doing recreational math and then coming back and regurgitating something at me that proves that you read something. And so basically it's 3 pages, three pages, 3 sources, scholarly, got to be scholarly sources. And MLA format. So I think the biggest thing is people try to do a different format or something and try to trick me. It's like, you're not going to trick me, bruh. Oh, man. Okay, so any questions so far? I just feel like I'm talking way too much and y'all too little. Silence. You know, silence is either a really, really good thing or a really, really bad Ooh, bad thing whenever you're teaching.
Can we use scratch paper and maybe a calculator to check our answers during tests?
You can use a calculator during test. I would really like scratch paper is kind of iffy. Well, I mean, you're gonna have your own paper during your test, right? So I guess you already have scratch paper. You should have blank paper, and you have to show it to the camera. I believe is how you do it.
All right, I'll show it to the paper. I just like to see what I'm doing.
Yeah. You can always do extra scratch paper, but like I would really prefer if you did anything for the test that you submit it. If you did scratch work, even if it's scratch work, I'd like to see it.
Well, I'll show it to the camera. I'm not sure how to submit scratch work with a test.
If you do the Genius, if you're just doing the Genius app, just submit it after your test. Just like make sure whatever you wrote during your test gets submitted, sort of thing.
Yeah, because with Respondus, it just says the test and then that's it.
I'm not sure I understand what you're saying.
Usually when Respondus is over and the test is over, it just X's out. Could we email you photos of our work? Maybe?
Yeah, so you're going to go, I think the way that it does it, from my understanding, is you exit out of the Respondus browser when you're done, and then you do the Genius Scan app to take a picture of your test, and then you go back in with that submission. It gives you a little time window to go back into the spot to submit it. So you're, after you do it with the Genius Scan, you're going to come back here with a regular browser, I believe, and click on it and submit it. And I believe it should let you submit it. If not, and if you run into any issues like after that, you can always shoot me an email with it in there. Like, as long as you're getting stuff turned in on time is the important thing. We can always find sort of workarounds with these problems that might occur.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, like I'll always be around and get y'all through those sorts of problems, right? I'm not trying to hold those sorts of things against y'all at all. No. Yeah, good question. So where we're at, research project. That's due by like the end of the year, basically. It's due on the last day is when I got to do. Communication with me, all communication should be through your email, should be through your school email. Attendance, you're expected to be here. You're expected to be here every day. You should be here and you should be active. We're gonna do work. We're gonna do work together, so it's gonna be obvious if you're not doing the work, sort of. I will be able to see it. Withdrawal policy, so I don't have the withdrawal date on here, but ACC has a fairly late withdrawal date. You can go look it up if you really want, but I will most likely, probably, unless I really mess up and don't pay attention, I will remind y'all, and especially if you're getting really close and you might need to withdraw, I will remind y'all when the withdrawal is. April 26th. Look at that. Students enroll, what is it? Yeah, and they have so you can only withdraw so many times, I believe. Late work policy. So there is no late work. So the first thing that is due on the 26th is going to be 1A, and is due by like midnight that night. With that said, and this goes back to like, being a professor really helps you be a student. I don't really care. So like, oh, I don't want to say I don't care. Like, if you're a little bit late with it, like, you still try to submit it. You should be able to submit stuff late. If you get it submitted before I grade it, there's a pretty good chance I'll probably still grade it, and like I was saying, this is like your sort of contract. So like, it's just to cover your ass sort of scenario is basically what this is in my syllabus. That's basically what you're doing when you write a syllabus. You're like, what could possibly happen? And so I want to kind of cover my butt. So if someone's like turning in stuff late or turning in stuff like really late, saying my internet connection's unstable. So if it goes awry, let me know and I'll try to fix things up. But if y'all can't hear me, let me know. So it says no late work, but like still, if you have it and it's done, like still turn it in. Like, I will probably most likely grade it, but I want to sort of cover my butt. So the official policy is that there is no late work. Just in case, right? Just in case y'all are turning stuff in late. Or if it's a repeated sort of problem, I don't have to keep putting up with it, so to speak. Missed exam, same thing with exams. If you miss an exam, you better have a darn good reason, right? I guess if you have an official reason, let me know as soon as possible. Like, I'll try to work with y'all on things, but I've had excuses in the past. It's like I don't have internet or so and so, it's like that works for maybe like a couple hours, but if you're like hitting me a couple days later and it's like I don't have any internet, it's like I missed the test. It's like, it doesn't seem like you missed a test because there was no internet. It seems like you forgot there's a test and then remember there's like a few days later or something. I don't know. it needs to be as soon as possible if you miss a test. If you can tell me before you miss the test, if you know you're gonna miss a test, like that's preferable, right? As soon as you know, like let me know. Just communicate with me on it, and I will try to work with you. I'm not trying to fail anybody, man, and I'm not trying to give y'all zeros, but like y'all gotta be on top of your studies. I don't know what else to say on that. Like you can't come days later after a test and like kind of expect to take it. That's kind of silly. I don't think I've ever done that. You got to communicate with me at the very least, right? Even at that, like I don't know, you can do email on your phone, bro. Shoot me an email on your Wi-Fi, or not on your Wi-Fi, on your, I can't even think anymore, on your mobile device. Okay. So be here for the test. We're gonna take the test during the class. We're gonna take them in the Respondus Lockdown browser. If you're not here, you better let me know as soon as possible if you expect to take it or retake it up. Incomplete grades, almost never give them complete grades. That's like if you like get, I don't know, some kind of car wreck or something, you can't complete it. Some kind of medical emergency or something, and you can't complete it. That's almost like never happens. Okay, so I think I went over, there's a section, I'm gonna go over a section each day, basically. Y'all are the one that has one less day because we had a holiday. We started off on a holiday. But eventually we will catch up to the other class, so. Anything I missed on here? I think that's it, right? Section by section. And like this says, this is a tentative calendar, so it might change this during the semester depending if things happen. It definitely did a year ago when everything went digital. But I will make those announcements. And now I think that was pretty much like the heart of the syllabus, if I'm being honest. Everything else is sort of like your rights and responsibilities and the sort of stuff I copied and pasted from the college policies, right, that I have to have in my syllabus. But let's go over it real quick anyway. To limit the spread of COVID-19, we're obviously all at a distance. That's basically what this is saying. No scholastic dishonesty is what this says here. No cheating or anything of that sort. Student rights and responsibilities. So what does this say? You're protected under the same things that protect you under the Constitution of the U.S. So freedom of speech, peacefully assemble, to petition, and freedom of association, and you have the right to express your own views. You're entitled to fair treatment. Senate Bill 212 in Title IX. So Title IX is all the sexual harassment and the sexual preference discrimination and all that sort of stuff. So if this is happening to you, there are ways to report this sort of stuff. So definitely report these sorts of things if they do happen. What does it say? Dating, violence, stalking, all that good stuff, horrible stuff. That's all covered under Title IX, sex and gender-based discriminations, and covered here as well. So it gives you the numbers to file complaints. It gives you how to file a formal complaint here. It tells you about your statement of privacy, FERPA. So your records are confidential as a student. Your grades are confidential. I cannot give them to your family. I cannot give them out to anyone but you. Class grades will be posted on Blackboard. What does it say? Safety statement. Health and safety are of paramount importance. Here's what this is saying. They want you to be safe. Sorry. And then the next one is about Campus Carry. So if you forgot you're in Texas, there you go. Pew pew. We're all Cowboys. This ain't even, we're not even on campus anymore physically, so I don't think that's even probably relevant, right? But there it is. You can still carry on campus. Discrimination is prohibited. So this is where it says what we can't discriminate on race, color, national origin, religion, age, sex, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, or disability. There we go. And it mentions Title IX complaints again. Everything that we're going to do is through the ACC email. We're probably never going to use the testing center, but there is some website they give you for it. Student supportive services. So if you need some support, if you need help, here's the services that ACC provides for their students. So they have a few different good programs there if you want to look at them. But there's a link to those. Student accessibility services. So if this applies to you and you want to send something through student accessibility services and send me that email, go ahead and send me that email and I'll work with you on it. With that said, like I realize like we're all coming from different sort of positions here and you might have some sort of official diagnosis or something and you might need longer on a test or something along those lines is usually what it is, right? Or you know, maybe you don't have it officially diagnosed, right? If you still need me to work with you on something, like come ask me about it, right? Don't just because you don't have like the official documentation or something, don't be afraid to ask, right? The worst I can say is I can't do it and give you some reason for it, but I will try to work with you as best as I can. If you need some kind of help with that, right? Academic support, I think they have a link to like the tutoring. You can request some tutoring. Used to work as a tutor in the tutoring lab, so I would say like go hit up their tutoring. You're already kind of paying for it with your student fees. Library services. So when you do your research, you definitely want to probably use one of the search tools that are within the library to get some scholarly sources. What does it say? Okay, so yeah, that's basically it. Go to library website, user search. Student organizations, ACC has a bunch of student organizations. You can probably all meet with them. I'm sure they're all doing distance meeting as well. You can join some healthy organizations out there. Any questions over anything in the syllabus, anything about the website? Or
No.
on time. I'm trying to think of what else. I feel like I'm missing something. I got that feeling. So what are y'all doing before class on Monday is when this class is meeting? What should you do before Monday?
Watch the pre-recorded lecture.
Huh? For which one? Just the first one, right? Okay. So watch the 1A recorded lecture. If you, or if not, if you want, you should follow along. You should have the notes. I don't know if you have a printer. If not, open up the notes and take notes along with the video. These notes are going to be for you. Those are for your viewing pleasure. Follow along with the video. Try to understand it as best as you can. Come to class ready to work through some of the problems. I would suggest, like, you know, like I said, like you don't have to work through the problems before class, but you should probably at least like skim them, right? See what's in store. See if it makes sense at least, right? If it's not making sense, maybe go watch the video again or look through it. 1A is going to be about logic, or we're starting out with logical fallacies, I believe is what we're doing in 1A. Living in the media age is what it's called. 1B, I believe we're doing this is when we start truth tables. 1C is when we start Venn diagrams. 1D is when we start to put the argument all together and start to talk about whether or not something's valid. So I know I'm probably a bit crazy, but like I will talk about things before I probably really should talk about them. Sometimes I'm just trying to get ideas out there. So if there's something that seems like, whoa, this is a lot of information, like it might be. But I'm trying to get the idea out there, get it in your head a little bit, get you to sleep on it a few nights before we officially talk about things, you know. talk about them before we officially talk about them. Ooh. How? I don't know. I'm just amazed y'all are doing distance education. It's been a hectic year for me personally. I don't know about y'all, but
It really has been.
it's been a heck of a year.
I'm going a little stir crazy stuck inside.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to drive around every once in a while and get that filling out. Where's I going? I want to do this. So this is a homework we'll be going over on Monday. It will be due like by Tuesday, right? I'm trying to make it more interactive with the quizzes. I think I already said that, but let me see. Oh, I think I forgot. So here's the announcements. You probably already saw this if you read your email. That's where I like shoot out the emails and it puts an announcement on the Blackboard. Course materials is where you get to your textbook. I didn't finish this though. Tools is where you will actually look at your grade on Blackboard. So if you go to tools and go to my grades, I got nothing because I hadn't done nothing. Okay. All right, so where are we at? We're early, man. I feel like I ranted way too much at the other class and not enough at y'all. So what do y'all want to know? You already know my name's Mr. Sievers, Professor Sievers. Hey, dude, Matthew. Took me forever to get my undergrad. I got it for spent 7 years getting my undergrad, I think. Went to A&M, went to Blinn, went to Sam Houston, finally got my undergrad in math with a minor in statistics. I went to Texas State and graduated from there in 2017, I believe. Been spending the last 3 going on 4 years teaching at ACC. Before I did that, between my undergrad and getting my graduate, I tutored for ACC for 3 years. So I've tutored for 3 years. I've tutored longer than that. I started getting paid for it is what happened. Started getting paid something other than booze and spare change. So tutored for 3 years, and then when I went and got my graduate, I was a graduate assistant for 2.5 years, I think. And then I've been working for this for 3 years, so I think it's 3, 7, somewhere around 8 years, I think is what I'm probably going on, something like that. Of just sort of teaching math. Any questions? Y'all are awfully quiet, man. Y'all are talking a little bit, maybe a little bit more than my other class though.
I don't think any of us have any other questions.
Okay. You understand sort of what's expected to do, go watch the lecture, come to class, hopefully prepared to do some of the work, hopefully have a pretty good understanding of how to do the work. You don't necessarily have to do it before, but
All I got was do the homework, watch the lectures before class. And that you'd have work with quizzes interactively.
So watch the lecture before class. You don't have to work through the homework until after class.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to work through most of the homework in class. So you should be able to hopefully take notes in class and get most of your homework done.
Okay.
The thing that you're going to do for homework is, and then you'll finish up that homework and then you'll watch the next lecture before the next class.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so it's a bit flipped from what it normally is. But if you wanted to get ahead, I guess you could do that. I probably wouldn't get too far ahead though on the lectures. But they are all up there. All the notes are up there. There might be like some small typos in there or something that I might have to fix up, but I will try to get through those and try to make some small tweaks on stuff. But for the most part, like most of the class structure's up there already. All right, so I'm thinking